That's right. The late, great, very missed already, Taylor Hawkins on drums there with Jon Anderson from Yes on vocals playing Tom Sawyer with Foo Fighters. I'm Dan Schinder.
And I'm Steven Schinder.
And this is a Yesshift News Desk report. March 27th, 2022. We got all kinds of news. Of course, this unexpected news of Taylor's recent passing and his connection to Yes. Steve, why don't you kick it off with that?
Right. And afterward, we'll also go over news pertaining to other Yes members and associates. But this was a huge thing, and it also affected the Yes members themselves, as Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters, he was Jon Davison's childhood friend.
Like young childhood friend. In fact, we've got a series of photos here. There they are. I'm guessing, well, let's count the candles. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like there's 10. So maybe they were like 9 years old there. They look younger. I believe that's, am I correct that that's Taylor on the right, Steve? The way you had the names, but I think that's Taylor on the left, actually.
Not 100% sure, but we also have a picture of them more grown up where it's more apparent. So you really see how long they kept their association and friendship together. And
both SoCal boys like Steve and myself.
Yeah, and we have a few quotes from a few Yes musicians. So first up, Jon Davison's quote, "My dear brother, few words, many tears. To think of how we were great friends from the tender age of 10. All the defining life experiences we shared, how we dared to dream a life of music, how we reached those heights. You have and will always be my motivation and inspiration. I am because we are." And yeah, it's very touching.
It is very. And we'll take turns reading a few here. Also, Jeff Downs chimed in. I'm looking at notes over here, folks. And if I look over here, I'm looking at our show so that we could see if any of you have comments or questions. Okay. Please chime in.
And one of our viewers, Robert Heckman, says they were 10 in that pick, according to earlier posts. So Thanks for that catch.
Yeah, thank you very much. Jeff Downs says, very sad news about Taylor Hawkins. He was a longtime close school friend of our Yes vocalist, Jon Anderson, and often turned up backstage at the Cali shows. Always came across as a lovely and funny, super talented guy. Thoughts and prayers to his family and friends.
Right, and Bill Bruford said, "So saddened to hear of the death of Taylor Hawkins. If you want to play rock drums, you're nothing without serious commitment. Taylor brought commitment in spades as he laid into that drum kit with a huge smile, irrepressible energy, and stratospheric levels of enthusiasm. These were all aspects of his personality and playing that I admired from afar and that brought so much pleasure to so many. It's a terrible loss of one so young with so much more to give. My sincere condolences to his wife, family, and fellow Foo Fighters." Now, that is a huge compliment, using Taylor as an example of someone who has that serious commitment. So, yeah, it's very nice to hear.
Yeah, coming from Bill, I mean, who's been in nothing but landmark bands and, of course, a founding member of Yes and is very thoughtful, professorial type of person / musician / drummer. So, yeah, that's really a monumental compliment. And followed by Alan White. I am reeling from the news of Taylor Hawkins' untimely death and having trouble processing this information. It doesn't seem real. One of the best drummers in the world, Taylor was also one of the nicest, warmest, and most genuine human beings I've ever known. I was introduced to him years ago by Chris Squire, and through his connection came my relationship with Jon Anderson and all that followed. He was so incredibly kind, generous, and free-spirited. He had boundless positive energy and was a master of his craft. He thrived under any spotlight, on any stage, in any venue. says Alan. He continues by saying, everyone in my circle of musician friends, myself included, respected and adored him. He was a bright, shining light in our lives, and his spirit had so much love for so many people. I am completely devastated by the loss of my super-powered friend. I hope he's in good company now with my brother Christopher. My heart aches for his family and his bandmates, all who knew him and loved him. He was exceptional. He was an exceptional and a presence we will all miss around the world. Rest in peace, Taylor, my friend. These are all good people. And then he's got, we have a link to a video that Steve will put in the comments there. With love, Alan.
Yeah. So, and of course, like the community all over the web has been posting all their thoughts and tributes. Like there's just so much. Really shows what a huge mark Taylor made, and there are all these links of him and Yes members performing together. Like there's I've seen All Good People link, which I'll put in the comments right here, and the others. There was one from 2008 where Chris Squire performed with the Foo Fighters. I think that was my first time being aware of the Foo Fighters. I remember seeing a headline about that on Yes World, I believe. And later in 2012, there was an event called Bass Player Live. And so Chris was there and he played Roundabout. I think John Davison was there as well. And then in 2015, like you heard earlier, there was that show at the Honda Center where John Davison guested and they played Tom Sawyer. And it was also thanks to Nick Smith for bringing that link to us. I remember seeing that a while ago, but it was a nice reminder. And it's just so funny, like how they're all joking on stage. Like the Foo Fighters were like, yeah, we could have learned a Yes song, but they're too freaking hard, so we're doing a Rush song.
That's funny. And I was telling Steve right before we started that, and I mean this is nothing but a compliment. And please don't pile on in the other direction. For those who aren't thrilled about the current lineup, there's always people come out of the woodwork like termites and worms. But I will say that John Davison sounds more like Geddy Lee on that song than he does Jon Anderson in Jon Anderson Yes songs. Not that he's trying to be John. You know, I'm just saying my point is that he sounds so good emulating Geddy and paying honor to his voice. Really sounds great. Absolutely all these videos are worth a watch, but not yet. Let us finish honoring Taylor. We have some more news and then go watch all these links that Steve's popping into the comments there.
Yeah, and Robert Heckman chiming in again says, I am part of the Cruise to the Edge fraternity, and there are already plans for a tribute show on board the cruise this May. So, yeah, I guess I didn't really think about that, but yeah, it totally makes sense that there would be a tribute to him there, like there have been for other musicians in years past. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely. And Robert, thanks for that. And please private message me through Facebook or through drumtalktv.com. If you send a message through there, it'll get to me. I want to talk to you about that, actually.
Right, yeah. Yeah, like I haven't heard that much of the Foo Fighters, honestly. Like I may have heard a couple of hits, but you know, it is very apparent that Taylor was a huge part of the rock world, and what happened to him, it's like, you know, everyone's got to take care of themselves, and you never know when's going to be the last moment you see someone.
Yeah, and that's true. And they're one of the few bands that was still playing arena-size audiences. That says a lot today. It really does.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you had any more thoughts on that, Dad. But...
No, other than it's just such a huge loss. I never met Taylor. I hadn't had him on the show yet. Was hoping to have him involved, even if it was a quick hello video for some event that we're doing later in the year on Drum Talk TV. For those who don't know, I'm the founder of Drum Talk TV, the largest online media company covering the world of drumming. This morning, Steve found an article that was an update on Taylor's passing. passed it to me. I did a little more research and added to it, kind of wrote my own version of it. So that's on our page, on the Drum Talk TV Facebook page. So check that out if you haven't been brought up to date. And I'm sure there's even more news now where we'll be in the morning that we haven't seen. So we'll do our best to stay on top of that over the next week or so.
Right.
Yeah, very, very sad. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and everyone involved with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah. So gone, but definitely not forgotten.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's no easy way to segue from that, but onto the next news item that we have here. So Jon Anderson has been up to some stuff. He recently posted a video of one of his songs titled I Believe. He did this with Tony Calton. And I listened to this. It's a gentle sounding song, so it's not too surprising. The animation is very holiday themed. Just kind of odd that it came out this month, so I don't know what's going on there, but it's a nice song. It's harmless. And that same day, on March 15th, there was this post that came from the official Brand X Facebook page. So it read...
And if you're not familiar with this news, you might be wondering what could possibly be the tie-in between Brand X and Yes, and it's actually extremely pertinent. Go ahead, Steve.
Right. So the post reads, big news. Brand X's Chris Clark will be playing keyboards in Jon Anderson's new band touring March 2023. The group consists of members from the Band Geeks, and Anderson says, we'll do Close to the Edge, The Gates of Delirium, Awaken, and a bunch of classics. We'll make it sound as much like Yes in the 70s as possible. Here at Brand X headquarters, we're behind Chris 100%. This is going to be epic. So a while back, we've seen that video of the Band Geeks playing South Side of the Sky with Tom Brislin, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
You and I have talked a little bit about this news, Dad, but not extensively and not on this show. So what are your thoughts at this moment?
I'm actually very excited about it. I love that those songs can still be played live by Yes or anyone related to Yes, that they're still relevant. They're not relevant for commercial radio, but they're relevant to fans who still just love that music. I think every generation at some point in their life say, yeah, there'll never be music like what I grew up with. I'm saying that now. There'll never be music like what I grew up with. And Steve just named those songs, quoting Jon. Those are all my favorites, along with everything from Tales of Topographic Oceans and Fragile. There you go. As far as Yes goes, and some of my favorite music ever. So I think it's cool. I like, what do you pontificate might be some of the other classics? He names those and then says, and some classics. So I would submit that All Good People probably.
Yeah,
Steve knows
Roundabout and Owner of a Lonely Heart. Like, they just
I
have
didn't
to.
think of that. But he said 70s.
Oh,
I think it's
right,
all going to be
okay.
70s era. So I'd say maybe Long Distance Runaround. Roundabout, like you said. Maybe a couple really oldies.
Maybe Wondrous Stories, Starship Trooper.
Yeah. There's some great stuff that are possibilities. And here's something I'll bring up that please understand, folks, I'm bringing this up in the most harmless way. But other than official legal ownership of the name Yes, whom is with, the band with Alan and Billy and Steve and,
Jon does co-own the trademark, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, so if he was able to do Yes featuring Jon Anderson, Rick Wakeman, and Trevor Rabin, how is this band any less Yes than any other thing out there? It is the only configuration playing nothing but Yes music as far as we know, with a founding member. So I don't mean that to disrespect the current lineup under the Yes moniker. I love them. It's not to start that debate, but I just find it interesting that it's, you know what it is? Yes might be the only band out there other than Queensryche for a while that is an existing multiverse. You know, I mean, seriously, we've seen it way back with ABWH and then coming together for Union. Then we saw it with ARW. Now, you know, I find that really interesting that there could be, realistically, when you look at who's alive right now, there could be 2-3 other splinters where there's 5 official-ish Yes bands in a multiverse. A multi-Yes verse, right?
Yeah, I guess. Like...
What do you mean you guess?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I was just trying to figure out which direction, like, what I want to say next, I guess.
Yeah. But I just find it interesting. But I'm thrilled for Jon. The last thing we've seen from him, we saw the amazing rendition of Awaken with Toddmobile, and then the stuff that he did with Mr. Green's School of Rock is just incredible with these kids. And Jon still sounds...
they're touring again in April, I think.
With Jon?
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow. If they come
they're
out...
going to be at Rosfest.
Okay, if they come out towards Phoenix, I'd really like to see them. Schedule permitting. Because I am busy and important. Well, busy. But at that, you know, my point is he still sounds so good. And he's how old? 77? 78?
Yeah, he's 77 right now.
That's just crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. When I heard this news, I wasn't really thinking the whole, this could be called Yes type of thing. Cause like my mind just doesn't try to go down that, or I kind of resist trying to go down that route because I'm just tired of all the arguments. And
me too. But the reason why my brain went there, Steve, is because it's not a Jon Anderson solo tour. It's not Jon Anderson with the Promise Ring and Olias have sung Hello and Animation, you know, plus a couple
like it's
Yes
just
songs.
an all Yes.
Yeah,
set,
and that's what makes that bubble up to the top. Exactly.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're getting at. With the whole featuring thing, I guess the problem would be like, well, I guess they'd only use his name and not
right. Yes,
Band Geeks
featuring Jon Anderson,
because like that would be too long. But
yeah.
But again, there's like we experienced the whole thing with brand confusion. Like, you know, us diehard fans knew who was playing where, but the promoters weren't always on the same page of which band was coming. So if it was Jon Anderson and the Band Geeks featuring the music of Yes or something like that, I guess
that's
that'd be
reasonable.
Fine.
Yeah. What do you think of it? As far as the concept and the fact that he's going out there and doing it and the fact that it's all Yes and the fact that it's those songs. I don't think there's any of those songs mentioned that you even like, right?
Yeah, no, I love all these songs. And I guess it's pretty obvious that this is another sign that ARW probably isn't going to happen again. You know, Jon's busy with all this other stuff.
Rick wants to write and record in person like the old days, you know, be in a room. And I get that.
Yeah, but as far as the song choices, like, you know, I love the epics. It's interesting that, you know, we already talked about the like Close to the Edge 50th anniversary tour already, so we're not going to rehash that. There's a whole episode on that. But I guess it's like we're getting close to the edge from both of these bands now, and I guess 3 bands if you count Awaken and also like Gates of Delirium. They're doing that, but Yes Official have dropped Relayer for the time being at least, and so it's now it's like people can get their fix of Gates of Delirium just from a different configuration of musicians, and also Awaken, which does still excite me. Like I feel like, you know, it's not the guys we're so used to, but seeing what all these other people, like, you know, new blood, like I don't know how old these people are, but, you know, it's people we're not used to seeing play Yes music with Yes members. And it does excite me to see how they will work with Jon on stage. You know, it could be very different from how we're used to hearing the Yes songs, or it could be very close. In any case, it's like,
we've
you know,
seen that
it's
with Toddmobile. You know, I keep referring back to that because it really blew my mind. It really
right,
did. He sounded great. They sound. It's my excuse me. It's probably my favorite rendition of that song. Not to
right.
disrespect the classic lineup who did it, and the many times I've seen them do it, the many bootlegs I have, we all have of them doing that. So you make a good point. It'd be interesting. But I have a question. Am
Yeah.
I forgetting something, or might this be the first time that Close to the Edge, Gates of Delirium, and Awaken will be played in the same set? What in Masterworks
Oh,
did they do that? I didn't see that. It's one of the few tours I didn't see.
you know, I'm not sure if they played Awaken on the Masterworks tour. Let me look that up real quick.
Because I think that makes it another whole interesting um, layer, and I just
A
a
relayer,
real.
one could say.
So yeah, chime in, folks. If you have questions, suggestions, if you want to buy us copy. If you want to buy us coffee,
um,
buy us a
okay,
copy of this episode.
yeah, okay. I'm looking at Forgotten Yesterdays, and yeah, they did play Awaken on the Masterworks tour.
And Gates and Close to the Edge.
They definitely did Gates, and I'm pretty sure they did Close to the Edge on that
Okay.
tour. You know, it was a Masterworks tour, so they played some epics. And I think they also played Ritual on that tour.
Oh wow,
But
cool.
yeah, I'm not sure if they played all three of the songs at the same show during any of these, but yeah, I guess that's something for people to research.
Yeah.
After...
Still no it's not a reason to not look
Oh
forward to
wait,
this.
hang on. I'm wrong. I was looking at 2002 because I thought it was still in 2000. So I guess Awaken wasn't on the Masterworks tour.
So there you go. Maybe this is a first in
Yeah.
some ways. Well, it's a first in many ways, actually. This is probably the first now, other than ARW, might be the first. Why didn't they name that band Raw, by the way? But it might be the first time John's gone out and played
Confuse
all...
it with wrestling.
Yeah. It might be the first time John's gone out and played all Yes music with someone other than Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't just acoustic, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right,
I'm
because
excited.
with the
We'll see what happens.
yeah, because with the Rock Academy, they've done like songs by other groups as well.
Yeah,
and,
with
yeah.
John singing. And what was the song he played bass on?
Was that Kashmir or something else?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, John played bass on Zeppelin's Kashmir.
Yeah.
Look
Robert
this stuff up, folks.
Heckman says John doing Awaken with Todd Mobile is a top 5 Yes rendition.
That's cool. I agree. I love it.
Yeah. And Milt Surratt says you mentioned how various members of Yes play under different names and tours. Same for Supertramp. That's interesting. I've been meaning to do a deep dive of Supertramp at some point, so I'll have to get on that. But yeah, so I guess we'll move on to the next Jon Anderson item here.
Quick Supertramp Yes related thing.
Yeah.
I've told you, I don't know if I've said it on this show, I don't remember, but in must have been 89.
Oh, what Alan told you?
Yeah, I was spending pretty frequent time at Alan's house. He lived around the corner from my parents in the West San Fernando Valley, and we were getting to know each other. And I went over there one time, and he said, yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Arizona for rehearsals. It looks like Roger Hodgson might be our new lead singer, and we'll do a show where we'll first come out as Supertramp, and the saxophone player was going to be involved from Supertramp, and then there'll be intermission, and then we'll come out as Yes. And I thought, like, is he kidding me? It just sounded so surreal, but he was serious, and then it didn't end up working out. And then that's when everything ended up leading to what became Open Your Eyes. But I thought that was really bizarre. That was really interesting. Or no, that wasn't Open Your Eyes, was it, Steve? That was
Union?
Yeah, Union came about after that instead. What am I saying? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So this next news item I found on Henry Potts' site, Band Geeks. So according to Prague Magazine, issue 128, which came out this month, Jon Anderson is, or at least says he's close to finishing Zamran, Son of Elias, you know, the Elias of Sun Hill sequel.
He's been working on it for 22 years or something like that.
Yeah, like 23 maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
hoping it's like a 6-disc album.
Right, because he says it will be in 4 movements lasting over 4 hours. The first and second movements are finished. They're 55 minutes and an hour. I was working on the third movement just yesterday. That's over an hour. Now I've just got to work out the story interwoven between the layers.
Any news on A, will he perform it live? B, will it be on ice? No, just kidding. B, will the same artist, it'd be so epic if the same artist did the cover, because that was so fitting. That cover embodied that album's music as much as Roger Dean's stuff has embodied Yes music. I just loved that. And I would love I forgot his name. Is it?
Well, David Fairbrother Rowe passed away several years ago.
I must have forgotten that. Sorry about that.
Right.
Be interesting. There was some unused outtakes from what he submitted for that, or something that could be gathered up. That'd be amazing.
Right. Or maybe he could finally get Roger Dean, like he tried for the first one. No,
I don't know. I might be wrong, but I would think he'd want it to be clearly separate from Yes in every way other than his voice, which I would totally respect. I almost don't want it to be Roger Dean. Is that bad? Roger's going to hear this.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's like a different style we're used to.
Yeah. I like Roger Dean staying with Yes. I mean, we know he's done stuff for Rick and for Steve Howe, and that's okay. It's a kind of a different look, but it's separate.
Right.
Chime in, folks. What do you think? Let us know.
Yeah, so I imagine he'd probably want to play at least a bit of it live, but again, with some of Jon's projects, you just never know, and he has like so many ideas. I hope to see this sooner rather than later.
And hopefully he won't rehearse it for 22 years and be 99 when he tours it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we get that sometime soon. All right, so I'll scoot through a few more of these. I didn't put this in the notes, but earlier this month, Alan White shared a video of him performing with Bell and Ark back in 1971, or maybe it was 72. It was a song called She Belongs to Me. And it was very cool seeing like a younger Alan White pre-Yes, like seeing what he's like in that. And we also got this article about Trevor Horn.
Wait, it's a video? The previous item?
Yeah.
Send me that. I'd love to see it.
Okay, yeah. And
go ahead, sorry. Trevor Horn?
There's this article from essentialinstall.com which says PMC helps Trevor Horn remix Seal's iconic first album in Dolby Atmos. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm not really that familiar with Seal. I just know that he was one of many people that Trevor Horn has worked with, but it's cool to see that he's involved with that. And Billy Sherwood posted today on Facebook, tracking drums today, various sessions. Love playing drums, my first instrument growing up. Mom taught me to play when I studied Alan White, my drummer hero. Anyone out needing real drums played by hand, send me a message. File share makes anything possible. Yeah, that's true. I wish Rick was on that same
I was just going to say, he should remind Rick about the file sharing thing.
Yeah, but anyway.
More Lobate Scarp news as well. We had Adam Sears on a few episodes ago. This is from March 24th. And he says, we weren't trying to fool you. We're the fools thinking we can get all this done by April 1st. It's actually going to be pretty close, but we still want our contributions as well as our reviewers and radio presenters to have the tracks before we release it to the rest of the world to build up the hype and to keep the momentum going, which in turn will get more people to notice our project. The 17 and a half track Flowing Through the Change took most our time. We've been mixing it all week. So many moving pieces needed to be put in their proper places. If you're a contributor, you can check out the almost finished mix in the Dropbox folder. It'll definitely give you an idea of how epic this album is. And then he says, on April 1st, we will release our new single, Lifeline, already in the contributor folder for your enjoyment, and launch the You Have It All pre-order on Bandcamp. I wonder if they're going to pre-order it before or on Bandcamp Friday. That would make sense.
Yeah,
I tip them off to that.
Yeah, because April 1st and May 6th are both Bandcamp Fridays.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, originally he was aiming for April 1st to be the official launch date, but because of like all these final mixes and things that need to be done, the official launch will be May 6th. But since I've pre-ordered the album, I've been getting like, you know, the Dropbox folders, and I've actually listened to the 17.5-minute song he mentions here called Flowing Through Life, and it sounds really good. Like it's really cool seeing how it came to be, because a few weeks ago there was an Instagram live on the, I think the Lobate Scarp page, or maybe it was Adam Sears' page, but anyway, it's like working on the orchestral stuff that's in that 17-minute song, and like listening to it in full and hearing it, like how it
in place
punctuates like the stuff at the end. It's really cool. I'm real excited for more people to hear this stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Then he says, and then we'll be notified when the rest of the album is ready to download. We hope to have the mastered version of the music somewhere in the ballpark of April 4th through 8th. So hopefully that's when we'll see the full release. Then the official release will now be Friday, May 6th. That's your Auntie Leslie's birthday. Our plan is to have a 4-panel digipack version of the album to sell at Rozfest when we play there April 16th. If you pre-order the album on Indiegogo, that's what you did, right, Steve?
Yeah, and you can go to gotprog.com and it'll take you there, and you'll see like all the stuff that's,
cool. And if you do that, you'll get the official album booklet version, which I hope will arrive the following week. I'll start mailing those along with the other merch through the end of April through the beginning of May. There you go. Cool. Congratulations, Adam and fellow Lobate Scarp members.
Yeah. It's really cool stuff. Like I know we compared like a couple of Lobate Scarp tracks to stuff that's familiar to us, but I feel like by now, having listened to like the music, it's like I'm able to say, wow, this like Flowing Through Life sounds very Lobate Scarp, which is a neat thing to be able to say.
Yeah, they've blossomed into their own sound, which is great.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So people probably already heard that Oliver Wakeman was on our show just yesterday as we're recording.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah, it was.
Was it really? Wait a minute. Yeah, today's Sunday. It was Saturday the 26th. Wow, it seems like 3 or 4 days ago in my world. That's scary.
Right. So again, thanks to Oliver for being on our show and giving us shout outs. And he even shared a couple
Thanks to his wife, who's not feeling great, for letting him do that, really.
Right, yeah. And he shared a couple pics that he had mentioned. Like he had mentioned that he and a few other musicians had done like these hashtag prog cliche type of pictures.
Just close to the hedge.
Yeah, close to the hedge.
And they are. They're all right there, right close to the hedge.
Yeah. And there's also another one that's like a recreation of a Tormato cover. And he did this with Barclay James Harvest. And
it's funny that the gentleman below Oliver to the right, as you're looking at the picture, looks like a profile of Jon.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Doesn't he?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just love the commitment, like, looking in all the directions and the blue tint and the tomato. It's
Yeah.
great. I shared this, and in one of the groups, one of the members of the Yes tribute band, Say Yes, Peter Greenwood, shared a picture that they did of themselves by Yes Tour.
Yeah, actually there.
Yeah, I believe they're still looking for a new lead singer. So I guess contact them at sayyes.co.uk or at their Facebook page.
You know what the first thing is I thought of when I saw this image?
What?
It's only a model.
Yeah. Because Peter actually said, we played at Tavistock Wharf, and as the next gig in Poole was canceled the following night, we actually went on Dartmoor for a hike to Yes Tour. Unlike Yes, who were superimposed onto a photo of Dartmoor.
A little stab there.
It's all good fun.
Yeah, and I didn't know they were superimposed all these years, believe it or not. I never even gave it any thought.
Yeah, I guess I kind of knew because in that On the Silent Wings of Freedom music video, there's a brief little montage of the photo shoot, and it didn't really look like the place. So, yeah.
Duh. Yeah, they're like in a park or something.
Yeah, playing with
Alan's
the dog.
backyard or whatever. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. All right. So now for a couple of box sets. So obviously we interviewed Oliver about collaborations. So you can listen to that, and you can order that. Burning Shed comes out April 15th. But we also got from Burning Shed, Bill Bruford making a song and dance. That comes out on April 29th.
Yep, there are the goodies right there. And Bill Bruford will be on our show simultaneously when Steve and I interview him on Drum Talk TV at the same time. That's April 13th, your sister Sam's birthday. That's April 13th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. So check your local time zones, and that's April 13th. Thrilled to have Bill Bruford on, one of my biggest influences and just a master musician who also happens to be a drummer. Very excited about this.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to listening to all these tracks in this sequence. Sort of get in the space of okay, why were these tracks selected for this order? It'll be interesting, learning how this all came together when we interview him.
Exactly. There's the cover of the Making a Song Dance, the front cover. Just really thrilled about having him on and talking to him. One thing that I'll mention now that I'll also mention during the interview and talk to Bill about is I truly believe that there's no other drummer that sounds like Bill. He's very unique in his playing. He's always been unique in his sound. And I'll have to follow up and see if they still have this. He used to have on his website an overhead diagram of every drum set that he used on every tour up to the point I had saw it, and never was it the same setup. And I've seen Bill a few times, and my favorite time seeing Bill was the Three of a Perfect Pair tour with King Crimson at the Greek Theater, and I have that DVD as well. Actually, I have it on VHS, but I watch it online now. But it is just so good, and there's no one that sounds like him. And that's hard to say about a drummer. There's always influences you can hear that, I bet he or she's influenced by John Bonham, and there's some Neil Peart there, and there's Phil Collins. But never have I heard someone and think, they listen to Bill Bruford. Or, wow, that sounds like Bill. Never, ever. Not even when Terry Bozzio took over for him in UK. Terry doesn't play like Bill at all. I don't think. The one similarity they had is that Terry had an all Rototoms kit, and Bill had Rototoms with the kit that he played with UK. That was the only similarity in my mind. But Terry's got a totally different style that happened to suit and be able to play those songs and reimagine some of the songs they hadn't put on the first album that they then recorded with Terry for the second album. Now I'm going down a whole other road. Sorry about that. But thrilled to have Bill on. And we'll be doing that April 13th.
Yeah, definitely. And this next thing is Asia in Asia. So it's the 1983 concert with Greg Lake. It's got nice Roger Dean artwork. And recently, I wasn't sure if there was a video component, but it looks like there is. It mentions like the concert footage in the listing.
Great. I remember watching the live. Whoops. Yeah, my mic's on. I remember watching the live broadcast of that when it was on. And they had this pre-show thing kind of explaining what sort of went down without getting into detail. And it showed, like, imagine a video camera on the floor of a long hall. And it showed John Wetton walking away from you carrying a duffel bag. And then next thing you see Carl sitting next to Greg Lake in the back of a limousine. And then they're all four of them are at a pub drinking beer and just talking. And then a little bit more of that kind of stuff explaining the story. And then there they were. And Greg Lake even said it's quite odd that I'm here filling in for John Wetton because they say I sound like John and John replaced me in King Crimson.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. So at first I thought, wow, what an odd thing to make a product of so many years forward. It was a one-time thing. Greg was never really in the band. He never recorded anything with. But then I thought, okay, that does make it worthy of encapsulating this, if you will, and honoring it. And I do remember him playing. I think he played "Still You Turn Me On" and maybe "C'est La Vie." I don't remember. Is there a track listing handy, Steve?
Yeah, I'm looking at the. Let me see.
I'm going totally by memory from whenever. When was that? 84?
83.
That's what I said, 83?
Yeah, let me look at the track listing real quick.
Okay, and I'll pop up the cover again. It's a great piece of work by Roger.
Right. Okay, so you said...
He either played "Still You Turn Me On," "Lucky Man," or both, and maybe "C'est La Vie."
Okay, because I'm looking at Prog Archive, and I don't see either of those, but I don't know how reliable it's...
Okay, because I remember him playing one of his solo songs from ELP.
Right, okay. But, yeah, so, yeah, they announced this on March 18th and put out, like, a clip of "Here Comes the Feeling." March 18th, possibly Asia's 40th anniversary. We don't know 100%. Might be March 8th. We've heard from different places, but yeah, it's really cool that they're putting this out because it had only been released on VHS prior, apparently, like not even a DVD release. Oh, okay. I'm dumb. There is a tracks tab on this listing. Okay, I don't see "Still You Turn Me On" or that other song you mentioned here.
"C'est La Vie." What about "Lucky Man" or... I know he played one of them. I know he did.
No, I don't see those on here.
Weird. So maybe they just didn't include it because it wasn't Asia. Maybe it was a rights thing or something.
Maybe. I'm not really sure. I don't know that set list by heart.
I don't either. I just remember seeing him play it. It might have been a rights thing under the other label he initially recorded it with. You know, all that BS that gets in the way.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, that comes out on June 10th. And we'll be closing off with some Roger Dean news. So he finished the cover art for Downs Braid Association's next album, Celestial Songs. The pic we have here is how it last looked on the last painting session he worked on it.
And that's beautiful. I love the nebula.
Yeah.
That is just magnificent. And the spires.
Yeah. He finished it like a little bit afterward, I think, and then like sent it off for a photo shoot. And then last Tuesday, he started work on this other painting, which he says is something he started working on a while ago and is just getting back into.
Looks like waterfalls now that I see it larger.
Yeah,
Waterfalls and floating rocks. Right?
Yeah, they're definitely floating rocks. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he says the Celestial Songs art will be at the Trading Boundaries exhibit this week, which we've talked about before. And he also mentioned that in early August, there will be an exhibition in San Francisco with him and his daughter Freya. And sort of parallel to that, there will also be an immersive experience that he couldn't really share any details.
Oh, wow.
About,
I wonder what that could be.
Yeah. So again, really cool to I love these live painting sessions he does on Facebook Live on this page.
I'm still yet to catch one. I've got to catch that with Enja. My wife's a professional artist, for those who don't know, and she loves his work too. So I got to catch it. Let me know when that's happening.
Yeah, they tend to be Tuesdays at 11 a.m. But I don't know if that works with your schedule.
Yeah, it could. It's like right when I finish something, so that could work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Remind me though. Feel free to text me and say, "Hey, it's starting," rather than, "Hey, yeah, earlier today I watched." Like, come on, man, help your dad out.
All right, yeah, that's my bad. So I'll just read a couple comments from people before we close off.
Okay. Oh, there's more.
Yeah, so earlier, Milt Sarat said, I just recall the immensely amazing performance the Foo Fighters and Taylor did when they inducted Rush into the Rock Hall. Also said, he also says, why isn't Jon Anderson's animation album downloadable anywhere? It's on YouTube, but not iTunes, Spotify, etc.
That is weird.
Yeah, I think John's animation got re-released a few months ago over at Cherry Red Records, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a rights thing. Maybe it'll eventually get on those other places.
Yeah, and Robert Heckman also chimes in again on our page saying, on a complete tangent, I would like to share my, by far, favorite prog band with you guys. I'm a follower of, on social media and real life, the Tea Club. I recommend you check them out if you're not familiar with them. I'm not familiar with them. We'll check them out. That's cool. And did you check the Drum Talk TV page to see if anyone's chiming in there?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much covered now. So,
okay. Cool, cool. Awesome. Right. Yes. Folks, thank you for joining us for this Yesshift News Desk Report. And you can always chime in on anything that we talk about on the Facebook Live, on the archive of the Facebook Live on Facebook, and on the audio version. You can listen to us if audio is your thing, if you like podcasts while you're doing other stuff and don't want to look at us. But as you notice, we show visuals as well. But if you like podcasts, we're at anchor.fm/Yesshift. And you could email us comments, questions, suggestions, donations. Well, actually, donations are through the Anchor channels, but is that right, Steve? Right? That's where that is?
Yeah. If you go to anchor.fm/Yesshift, there's a support button. Yeah,
this is a total passion project for Steve and I. And you can write us at yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com. And you can follow me on Drum Talk TV, the largest online media company covering the world of drumming, where we do feature more than drummers. We do full bands. We do this, all kinds of things from all over the world. We do documentaries. We cover events. We interview everybody from the biggest gold and platinum artists to up and coming artists to just talent that I discover that we have on, and curate content from our fans from all over the world. And remember, April 13th, Bill Bruford joins Steve and I on both Drum Talk TV and Yesshift simultaneously. Make popcorn, hang out, join us, send in your questions on the live. For Bill, we'll relay some questions. And remember, Bill's pretty smart, so no dumb questions.
Yeah, and we also finally have a Yesshift YouTube channel.
That's right.
Yeah, it was nagging. It was nagging in my mind. Whenever I'd walk my dog, I would think about things and be like, you know what, we really should have a YouTube channel for our podcast. So we uploaded the Oliver Wakeman interview there as well, and we'll be trickling in older episodes in between the new stuff. And keep an eye out for future episodes. We'll be back on Friday. We can't say what's going to be yet, but just keep an eye out for what's coming out on Friday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yesshift. Yeah. On the Facebook page. Yeah.
Join us for that for sure. You do not want to miss that. I know it's April Fool's Day, but we are going to be having a show. We are going to show up. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not pulling a Lobate Scarp on you. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys.
Yeah, no, I think Lobate Scarp are doing a gig right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay,
so good
cool.
that they're like playing at places now. So
yeah, they're out.
Really looking forward to that full album. It's gonna be great.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye.